clean tech. Okay, we have a keynote speaker from Micronaut, J.K. King, Dr. J.K. King. Micronaut is in building energy saving. Okay, Mr. King will talk about the technology in Micronaut use, and also talking about the trend of the energy saving for the building. The format of today, the session is Micronaut talking about 20 minutes. Then we have a panelist introduce their company, product, and services. Okay, then we bring up the question and answer. Okay, let's start with Dr. J.K. King, Micronaut.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me here. It is a little after lunch, so it's kind of energy subject. It used to be boring, so it's a good topic after lunch, but not anymore, because the element of energy management called time of use, or TOU, is now up and running in the energy sectors, especially utility and ISO, California ISO, and all the nationwide time of use operation starts. So what is the time of use? I mean, simply speaking, when you pay utility bill, you pay more at 4 to 9 p.m. Usage. It's more, much more than other time, because the energy demand and supply is changing every 15 minutes, and you have a more demand during these evening hours than other hours. So I'm going to get into how this works and it goes in the market and in these sessions. Do we have clicks? No, it has to be. No, it doesn't go there. Enter, maybe. Yep. It's kind of sort of stuck. No, it doesn't change. Yep. I think it's working now. Okay. There you go. All right. Time of use starts because the grid balance issue. So as you see in this graph, the left-hand side in like 2010, the time of the day is pretty much kind of flat. There's not much imbalance happen. But as of today, the daytime, the supply is more than demand. So it's kind of oversupply. Time zone starts mainly because of the solar resources coming in. And that naturally gives more demand during these evening hours when the solar decline. Now, this pattern will be more severe when the electrification is happening with the electric vehicle chargers coming in, and that imbalance will be getting more severe and severe. That means 4 to 9 p.m. energy rate will be inflated a lot for next couple of years. This is the kind of retail graph that the utility. So as you see that in the 4 to 9 p.m. like an orange box in the summer is 65 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas other hours like 14 cents per kilowatt hour. So basically you are paying about 5 to 6 times higher for the usage of 4 to 9 p.m. So many customer kind of ask me, I don't really use the electricity more than before, but I pay a lot more. That's because the rate of the utility bill goes up at 4 to 9 p.m. We see about 38% of inflation happen for the last 3 years in all the investors-owned utility like PG&E and Southern California Edison and San Diego Gas Electric. The inflation of 4 to 9 p.m., probably annual inflation around 11 to 12%, whereas non-peak hours like daytime, the inflation doesn't really go up that much. So that's the kind of situation right now, and we try to solve the problem. So now the utility meters basically require time of use operation, and I think nowadays many of you already understand what the solar is and what a battery and the EV chargers are. All combined together we call distributed energy resources or DERs. So how you comply your DERs in your properties to match with the utility TOU operation. So that's the kind of little questions that some of the most frequent questions: how you size your battery, how you size solar or EV chargers, and how to interconnect with the utilities, and how to operate once you install, and what is the economy of it. There's a lot of questions coming in. So we kind of come up with this time of use compliance. There are two major subjects that you have to do it. One is electrical design compliances with the commercial grid, and also energy management system, especially in the telemetry enhancement, has to be there in order to interface with the utility. So we come up with a technology called POC. It's called point of control. So point of control have about three major functions. One is you have to do the consumption load data analysis, and that load data can give you the size simulation for solar and battery and EV chargers, basically. And based on this size of configuration, you can actually set it up your electrical design for interconnection compliances. Now, the interconnection rule also has been changed a lot in favor of time of use operation. Typical example is NAM metering system. NAMs 3.0 starts be effective from I think April 13th, and NAM 2.0 is declined. So that's all kind of really focused on the utilities, really lead the market to comply with the TOU operation there. And then lastly, there's a real-time operation with the telemetry. It means that your battery or solar has to have proper telemetry, both hardware and software. So when you really go into it, basically the POC line is paired up with the utility interconnection point called point of interconnection. Normally it happens in the behind the meter at your properties. You can have a point of interconnection, and then you pair up with your POC design together. Then once you finish that up, then how you install the battery or solar or EV charger is not much a problem of it, as long as once the skeleton is all properly set up in the design. So this TOU operation will require hardware and firmware, software, and regulatory compliances, all kind of included in this technology there. There's some case studies here. As I just mentioned, the U.S. solar business, NAM 2.0 is replaced by NAM 3.0. So when you look at the graph on the right, if your load pattern going like that way, and before April 13th this year, you can oversize your solar, and utility basically buy the oversized, the excess power that solar produce. and that caused the oversupply all the time, as I show you in the wholesale market diagram there. So utilities stopped doing that. So basically, you cannot really oversize it because utility will not buy in the good price anymore. So on the bottom of the graph, utility actually really want you to move that sun hour generation to evening hours by using a storage. Now, it kind of sounds simple. Then you produce your energy from solar in daytime, you store in the battery, and then you just dispatch battery in the nighttime, right? But when you really do the kind of business aspect, you have to exactly dispatch your power at 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock in order to maximize your economy. Meaning that I show you the 60 cents in the 4 to 9 p.m. in the summer, right? You want to cut that out. So when you really do the exact 4 to 9 operation with the full telemetry technology, you can actually carve out 60 cents per kilowatt hour portion of all your load in your property. Another case study is the EV chargers. Now you are pretty familiar with your home EV chargers, or slow chargers we call. The AC level 1 and AC level 2 chargers has been in the market for the last couple of years. Now, starting from this year, DC fast charger starts. Now, I think the AC slow charger and fast charger is very different because slow chargers usually have enough distribution power to supply you to charge your car in 10 hours and 16 hours. But for DC fast chargers, each charger's the demand peak is around probably about 200 kW up to like about 480 kW, which is approximately same as the whole this convention center's consumption. Okay, that's my guess. Or a higher residency here, I think they will use about 500 kW. So for 20 minutes. Whole peak of the higher residency consumption will happen in the little pole of the DC fast chargers, right? So it's quite scary, and the utility have a hard time to give you the fast track approval for this. If you want like 2 chargers, 10 chargers, well 200 kW, 10 chargers, 2 megawatt, right? The peak requirement there. So how we're doing it is normally we use the battery solutions. So battery coming in like 200 kW or 100 kW battery, and then you do the DC couple with the solar and also DC chargers. So it's a DC to DC bus operation, so utility do not have to worry about it. So that's why we usually get the fast track approval from the utility about 3 to 4 weeks with the DC chargers and battery together. So that's another kind of case studies that we can promote in terms of the time of use operational profile. So this is kind of typical equipment that we can utilize it. Used to be a container, DC chargers and things like that. Now I think the equipment suppliers and the manufacturers also advancing a lot, so we can have outdoor, very nice compact size of the battery storage system, so that you don't need to sacrifice a lot of your parking space of your properties. And but all this system, the solar discharger, has to comply with the interconnection design and energy management solution in terms of time of use regulations there. Now, actually the Department of Energy kind of enhance the importance of virtual control. I think Kirk here is kind of one of the expertise in the virtual control software there. But we do the software in the virtuality control, so that actually it is a one centralized platform to monitor and operate and control the local energy management system. That is heavily promoted by the federal level right now. Another one is IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. This year and next year, probably, I think they kind of incentivize this clean energy, distributed energy resources around probably the 50 to 65% total of the cost can be incentivized by the federal incentives and local incentives. And actually, White House kind of estimated about $370 billion of investment market will be promoted during this act. So we are quite excited with the government support and the market trend. So that's I just give you the little brief of the time of use technology. So if you have more questions, and we can have a panel sessions to answer your questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks to JK. Okay, let's give you the new energy saving regarding the electricity to the building and time of use. Okay, now we have panelists. We have Open Grid introduce his company. Okay.
Hi, I'm Vijay Israni with Open E-Grid. I started in the renewable energy business about 22 years ago and was one of the first people to build solar systems in California in the commercial and institutional space. And over the years, we've built many systems across the country. About 7 years ago, I realized that this whole thing is going to move towards smart cities, smart grid, storage, microgrids, and what's going to be the missing element there? Software. So we set about starting a company to build the solutions for the software right from designing the microgrid through operating the microgrid, connecting these microgrids together, and then connecting them back to the grid itself. The entire solution has been created, and we are at the point where we have deployed this technology at several locations and are now I'm now in the process of launching another company, a product company, which in fact will create or has created a microgrid in a box as a concept where the batteries, the electronics, the PCS, the inverters, the BMS system is all under the command and control of the software from Open E-Grid. So for an installer, it becomes really easy. They get on site, plonk down the system on a concrete pad, connect it up to the grid, connect it to the network, and walk. The system takes off and runs itself with artificial intelligence and machine learning, trying to drive itself constantly towards algorithms that hone themselves with time to maximize the savings and support the grid in the most optimal fashion possible. We have a booth back there. If you'd like to stop by and ask questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Next one is Kurt from the IME Control.
Good afternoon. Let's see if we can make this work. Where are they? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Can you tell me where? Okay. And maybe that will work. So, I'm actually here to advocate on behalf of a much ignored member of our energy community, and that is the smaller buildings. So, did you know that in the US, there are 300,000 big buildings like this? There are 5 million smaller buildings. So what we're doing is we want to have you understand that you can reduce the energy usage and cost in those smaller buildings, and we're here because, yes, you can integrate it with the city around you. So examples of the buildings that, and again, from our viewpoint, but there are other vendors that do some of this. Like in the upper left, that's a tilt-up building in San Jose, medical services. A police training center with like 20 buildings, from modular buildings to small concrete block buildings. A city council chambers, a school with modular buildings. Remember that, because the major vendors just don't pay attention to those highly inefficient systems in the modular buildings. So without going into all the details of this slide, the fact is that small and large buildings are really, really different from each other. The smaller ones have no central control system. There's not an engineer that's sitting there running the building all the time, giving a hoot about it. The occupants run the small buildings, not the engineer in the big building. And as you see, the costs are 5, 10, 20 times different between the two, but they have the same problems. So what can you do in a small building? So you can just change thermostats. Okay, we do that, we control that. Now that's going to save you dollars, it's going to save you energy, and it's going to optimize control and comfort. You can monitor the electric usage of those HVAC units, and suddenly now you have maintenance that gets instant reports of something going wrong, and your equipment lasts longer because it's run better, and you save money. Now, just like has been talked about so far, you can participate in rebate and rate plans, demand response. You can leverage those time of use rates like they've said. And, okay, you get paid, literally get paid to save money. You can monitor air quality. You can find out more things about your building, things that you never knew were happening. So why are we here as a part of a smart city group? Fine. If they're city buildings, you're going to save money in those buildings, 20%, like you saw in the first table. You're going to be able to use those utility programs to adjust electric usage and reduce the city's CO2 impact. And frankly, if cities have programs where their buildings are obviously being made more efficient, and maybe they have some programs as well, the commercial buildings then start to follow along. And bottom line is, each one of these buildings, the project is so much less expensive, so much faster to install than those in the huge buildings like this, that you can just start and get going. We can install in 2 weeks and get rolling, just kind of like he was saying. So, so please give us a shout if you would like, and please have your city council members start thinking about small buildings.
Thanks, Kurt. Next one, Patrick Henley. They're from Glendale.
Afternoon, everybody. Patrick Hanley. I am head of government affairs for a company called Verity. We're headquartered in Buffalo, New York, which is considerably colder than here in California. But appreciate your time today. Our battery energy storage systems, we started out this journey about 5-6 years ago in behind-the-meter systems. We were approached by a medical research facility in Buffalo that was installing electron microscopes. And much to your point before about time of use, there wasn't enough power to, they'd have to retrofit the entire building all the way back to the feeder in order to accommodate the power draw from these microscopes, or they could use them at like 3 a.m. So they came to us and said, can you design a system that's safe? So we went to New York State and obtained a variance and had to design a system that had, in a thermal event, we had to be able to control propagation. So no fire was acceptable in this instance. And fast forward about 5 years of testing, and we were able to develop a system that that met that requirement. So today our sweet spot is again the smaller buildings. We're not at residential, which is typically below 20 kilowatt hours, and we're not at the grid level, which is well over a meg. We're right at that. So our sweet spot is 150 kilowatt hours. So we portable system, so it's a replacement for a diesel generator, and we're starting to deploy them in a market right now. So we're really excited to be kind of hitting that smaller commercial and industrial market that has historically been forgotten in this industry. So we're really excited about that. Thank you.
You're not really forgotten. It was on my iPhone, i14 this morning.
I'm sorry?
You're not forgotten. It was on my i14 this morning about your generator.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, next one, Amos from the Turn on Green.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. Amos Cohn, CEO and founder of Turn on Green. Turn on Green own two companies. One is Digital Power Corporation. It's a company that was incorporated in 1969 and mainly focused on power distribution and power conversion solutions. Later, in 2018, we formed a new company named TOG Technologies that will expand our business into the e-mobility market segment. The digital power business provide the product and solution from engineering all the way to manufacturing to diverse industries, including defense, medical, telecommunication, and industrials. We reside in different systems and different applications serving those markets, focused mainly on power solutions or electrical power solutions. The TOG business focus on the e-mobility, where we make chargers to electrical vehicles. We make many different chargers from the home residential chargers all the way to fast charger that we were talking about here. From our power range that we're managing, goes from 7 kilowatt, the residential charger, to 460 kilowatt for the DC fast chargers. The solution that we provide to this market is comprehensive, complete solutions, from the product and supply all the way to the service, installation services, where we manage the charging services for our customers, or we own and operate those services. We do have quite advantage of managing the power usage or utilization from the grid, where obviously a charger that charging at over 400 kilowatt will be required significant amount of current to draw from the grid, and we need to manage that. So we provide different solutions where we do power sharing, power management, load sharing, advanced load sharing to manage the amount of current that we actually using. As you can see in many chargers, many of them are not being used, but there are many not deployed. And we want to take advantage of the statistical usage of the charger to get the best efficient and cost-effective energy use. Those chargers also, many of them, designed to feed back energy back to the grid or to the house. So we deploy bidirectional communication stack on the chargers, where we can actually feed back energy either to the home or to the grid using the batteries that has been installed in every car. ESS or energy storage systems for home, usually it's about 7 to 14 kilowatt hour. But on every vehicle, the battery capacity is 45 to 100 kilowatt hour. So we obviously want to help our customers to maximize their use and save energy and cost. And we do have a challenge of feeding back clean energy back to the grid because of the issue of harmonic distortion and different noise that is generated by multiple resources. We deal with that as well. And we overall provide to our customer comprehensive business services that including either just a buy and sell or a revenue share, profit share, which or we own and operate. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? Are you talking solar or wind power or?
Yeah, you're talking about the power generation, and power generation obviously can come from solar. On our comprehensive system, end-to-end system, we provide the total ecosystem for those deployment. Start from the solar, then energy storage. Then we do have a charger that are based on a split system where we have a power cabinet where we have all those AC-DC conversion or DC-DC. Then we drive them to what we call charging dispensers. Those are nice looking and high efficient power management devices that actually connect into the vehicle for charging.
I heard that they're thinking of giant wind turbines harnessing the ocean's energy off the coast of LA right now. Do you do any wind energy?
Yeah, we work with there's different programs in the state, and we tap into those programs to be part of those.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks to all the panelists and the speaker. I'd like to ask each panelist one question. After that question, then we open for the question to our audience, okay? Then they can answer. So I started with Open E-Grid. We are talking about the grid, right? So you provide a solution to microgrid. So can you talk about what is microgrid, okay, versus smart grid, okay? Okay, to the audience?
Yes, sure. So a microgrid is a very good question because the definition of a microgrid can vary, and different people think about microgrids in different ways. To my company, a microgrid essentially is some kind of renewable source of generation, which could be wind, it could be solar, or anything else, coupled with some form of storage. Could be batteries, it could be hydrogen, it could be anything else. That to us is a microgrid, and that's what our software is focused on. But to answer the question more broadly, some people think of a microgrid as a collection of systems that might live in residences. So you have residential storage systems these days popping up all over the place. If you talk to the utility company, they think of a collection of these homes as a microgrid, perhaps coupled together with some small businesses, small buildings. All of it operating together is a microgrid. And where does that fit in the big picture? Well, a microgrid might live on a certain feeder or be connected to a certain substation. But then all of those things together go to form the entire grid, which itself now would be smarter because all these little components are under smart control, as we've heard from other speakers. Does that answer your question?
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay. Next one to Kirk. I'm in control. How do you control the building? Use the software or hardware? What kind of solution you give to the customer?
The answer is yes. So the object for these smaller buildings, you have to keep the cost of the project low because the amount of energy absolute that you can save in a year is smaller. So we always aim at a 2-year payback. So that means that basically we just replace thermostats with one, like the ones you have in your house, with ones that talk to us wirelessly. We add some little sensors to the wires coming off your breakers. We put a controller in the building, it talks to the outside world, and then we use all that data because we're watching the energy every 15 seconds. So we apply that to the software, just like he was saying, to optimize comfort, to optimize interaction with maybe a microgrid or the grid, to interact with this demand response that the other folks have talked about, and to, frankly, just use less. The buildings that we go into, I mean, the thermostats, people have fiddled with them for years, so they're a day off and they're 2 hours or 4 hours early or late. Those are the kinds of things that we deal with. It's easy.
Okay, thank you. Okay. JK, so you do the building energy saving, right? All these, what's the most difficulty when you get a customer? And what's the cycle you...
Well, the customers, each customer have a little bit different characteristics. Some customer really concerned about utility bill, and some customer don't care about utility bill that much, right? Used to be. Now, for the last couple of years, the utility bill inflation, especially in the peak hours, increased a lot. So most of customers are very concerned about the utility bill. So what we do is we do the building to grid business model. So we saving 4 to 9 p.m. of utility bill by using our energy storage and solar resources, and so that we just cut the load during these expensive hours. But at the same time, this load reduction can be delivered to a grid, the wholesale market. Actually, we are the first company who achieve and get the registration license for these activities in California ISO. And so when we do that, the customers feel very interesting about what we are doing, but they are more interesting about the dollar value. They always reduce that. That's all. Right? So I think more and more customers. I mean, a positive trend is more and more customers concern about energy, so they more seriously talk with our program. That didn't really happen before. I mean, especially in the IRA, and when the IRA was not there, and not many people concerned about it. So, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Right, Patrick, so I read your company's profile, and I read your company profile, right? So you are the head of a government affair. So look like you also do the energy, how to use and store, right? So in your business, technology service, is anything is a competitor of Micro? No.
No, I don't think so. Throwing curveballs here. No, I don't see us as a competitor. I see us as a supplement. So, you know, for battery storage technology, it seems that, you know, the focus has been on road, and we're trying to support exactly what they're doing on road, you know, while using the existing infrastructure of a building, or, you know, our systems are completely behind the meter. So, for example, if you mentioned solar or EV charging and the impact that's having on the grid, and, you know, if everybody in my neighborhood in Western New York bought an EV tomorrow, it would be a very difficult situation for the grid. So with our systems being up behind the meter and being safe, you know, it really opens up the capacity, the transmitted capacity of the existing grid, or from a renewable source, or our systems are able to charge with a diesel generator, which sounds crazy, but, you know, since they're portable, they can, you know, power as a service, power can be brought anywhere. So what we then can do is be able to, you know, charge them with a generator. You're creating a week's worth of standby power with running a generator for 4 hours. That cuts down gas usage by about 95, 96%. So for us, I don't see us as a competitor of microgrids. I see us as working in parallel with them.
Okay, good. All right.
We just saw a deal now.
Okay, so it was for turn on green, right? So your company name turn on green, that means you turn on the power with green, right? That's what I read. So with green energy, right? How do you apply green energy?
So from early days that actually I'm involved with this company, about 20 years now, quite a bit. What we were focusing from my first day in the company is how to get more efficient power conversion, because we deal with converting electricity from one method to another, and in the conversion process there is a lot of waste. And as long as you waste less, you become more green. And we've been really focusing on developing conversion in the software base, as opposed to using components, and customize the software and the development to meet different applications. So we meet the highest efficiency as 98%. So only 2% loss on the conversion side. And we've been able to, so those products that reside in larger system work cooler, longer life, and much more efficient. There was much less wasted efficiency that require for cooling and for energy waste. So that is the one aspect of the business, obviously. The other aspect is the ecosystem that I mentioned. Yes, there is a lot of concern of the amount of power that we need in order to managing and drive all those chargers that have been installed. If you have a charger that is a 360 kilowatt charger, DC fast charger, that will be require about 300 amp from the energy source. During the charge time, and how do we reduce that? How we have a better management of the services, and we've been working on more comprehensive solution, that including storage, energy storage, solar power generation or electrical generation source, and redundant load balance power management. So all to reduce that amount of power that is required, and to still provide the same quality of service that if you would be not using those type of systems.
Okay, right. Okay, thanks. Now we open for question from audience. Anyone have a question?
Talking about geophysical plants for converting geophysical plants?
No. Nothing.
Anyone? Okay.
I just learned on my iPhone 14 that I'm from Beverly Hills, but the Salton Sea is dried up, and they just discovered the world's largest supply of lithium on the planet. And nobody talks about that. We don't need China for lithium.
I do too. I've done a lot of research.
Anyone have a question to particular panelists?
We were very clear.
Okay.
Oh, I have one more question about the diesel.
I'm from really cold climates, Nebraska and Michigan and Oregon, and diesel backup generators have been popular for, I don't know, I'm 74, for a long, long time. And is diesel bad because of the fumes?
So anyone want to answer?
Yeah, I think it's the fumes, and they're regulating the emissions on them now. I know new permits are getting increasingly more difficult to get, and it's kind of aligned. The move towards either clean energy or renewable sources, is aligned with kind of getting away from combustion. So it's kind of a loaded question, but I think that the from a diesel standpoint, it's cleaner. There's no sound. And more importantly, there's no maintenance on battery energy storage either. You don't have to run it, you don't have to cycle it, you don't have to, it's maintenance free. It just sits there, and unless you're logged into our IoT program, you won't even know it's operating.
So it's lithium then? Lithium battery?
Our systems are lithium ion. We use automotive grade cell, so we purchase our cells from LG, and we use a cylindrical cell.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, no more. So I'm in control the right time, 15 minutes, okay? Let's end the session. Okay, thank you. All these